Okay, so this is the third video in our muscle building series, and we're going to talk about the third principle of muscle building, which is metabolic stress. Now, if we go back to our first video and we talk about mechanical tension, with mechanical tension, we're focusing on tensing the entire body, and we're using reps within the 1 to 5 range. When we move forward beyond that and we get into muscle damage, remember that we're forcing the weights up, but we're doing it safely. So I use the double push press as an example. And then we're controlling the weight down, getting that slow negative. So that's muscle damage. And when we're doing the muscle damage type of work, then we're getting into, I would say, maybe anywhere from 5 to like say 8 repetitions, because we're forcing the weight up and then we're stronger on the eccentric portion of the exercise, so we can control it down. We've got more control down than we do pushing the weight up. So now we're in the metabolic stress phase, and now we're getting into very uncomfortable rep ranges, higher rep ranges where we're eliciting a metabolic response. And when you elicit a metabolic response, when you get a metabolic response from doing higher weights or higher repetitions, then what happens is you get these metabolic byproducts like lactic acid and growth hormone that start to secrete. And those are two primary hormones that we need for muscle building. Now, remember that with muscle building, this all comes in the realm of recovery. You have to make sure that you have enough recovery in between your training. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they skip mechanical tension and they skip muscle damage and they go right into the metabolic component of muscle building, which is the wrong approach, because mechanical tension is about the skill of strength. And you want to be able to lift appreciable weights when you get into the later two phases to get a better response. So just like the company, you have to really get strong first before you actually go into the metabolic work and stuff like that. So today I'm going to show you higher rep metabolic work, and we're going to do a kettlebell complex or a double kettlebell complex to show you what that is. And so what you're doing is, even though I'm doing 5 reps of each exercise, from a systemic standpoint, I'm doing 15 repetitions, probably 20. I'm going to add 4 exercises to this complex. And so I'm getting 20 repetitions for my entire upper body, which will elicit a metabolic and a growth response for my body. It'll also give me what's called systemic overload. Now, if you hear me talk about it, or you've read my articles on kettlebellworkouts.com, you'll know what systemic overload is. It's the taxing of the entire system to elicit this metabolic response, to elicit a hypertrophy response. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this kettlebell complex, and we're going to show you the metabolic stress that occurs as the third phase of muscle building. So the complex that I'm going to do is simple. I'm going to do a double swing, double high pull, double snatch, and then I'm going to do double push presses. So 20 repetitions in total. I'm using a lighter weight. I'm using 16 kilos here, just for the demo purposes, but you'll see how elevated my heart rate gets. In addition to that, I'm getting the pump, which is kind of what I'm after as well. After I've gotten strong, I'm getting that pump in my upper body, specifically in my upper back and my shoulder area. So that's the area that I really want to focus on in terms of building, broader shoulders, bigger back. So that's what I'm going to focus on with this complex. So if you want, you can give this complex a try. So you can see how much upper back and shoulder work there was involved with that. If you look, maybe on my shirt, I'm getting a little bit of a pump. If I was really diabolical, then I would have done some double front squats to finish. But we want this out of breath feeling. We want the pump feeling, because that's essentially what metabolic stress is. That's what's going to give us the right hormonal response. And again, the most important thing with this is that you're recovering in between sessions, okay? Don't train every day. We can't do the things that we used to do when we were 20. We're in our upper 30s, we're in our 40s, we're in our 50s, 60s now. Muscle building is different now. We need to have that recovery response. So go ahead and give that complex a try. But remember, don't touch the metabolic stress stuff until you built the foundation of strength, until you've done some muscle damage or trained in that muscle damage phase where you get into the higher repetitions and then go into the very high repetitions. The biggest mistake, as I was saying before, is that everybody skips to the metabolic stuff. You have to be able to build a foundation first. Okay, so I'm Chris Lopez, kettlebellworkouts.com. This is the third video in the muscle building series. I will see you guys in the next video.